Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. and today I'm reviewing these 4 games from Monkey Mind Games. We have Skate Park over here, which is going to be a 1 to 3 player skating game, or accomplishing tricks. We have Inkanjini over here, which is a 2 to 3 player, almost a race through the ocean game, sort of, with obstacles. We have Slingshot over here, which is a 1 to 4 player game of racing around planets trying to get there first. And then we have Chimichangas and Tacos, which is a 2 to 3 player game of trying to build out the best recipes and ingredients as you build out your, well, Chimichangas and Tacos over here. Now, I am going to go through these one at a time. These will be timestamped, and, well, let's try to think through how to do this best. Let's go ahead and dive into how to play, brief how to play, and opinion on each one. And I will say, I do not like a single one of these games. Arguably, Chimichangas and Tacos is tolerable. The other 4, I really, really strongly don't like. That's disclaimer there because I may sound frustrated throughout this video, and I'm frustrated for, well, a variety of reasons. But let's go ahead and dive into it, starting off with Skate Park. In Skate Park, you're going to basically laying out these tricks over here. These are the various tricks or the areas you're trying to accomplish tricks at, and the players are going to go ahead and take turns assigning which trick is being done each round. You're going to be operating with wheels as a currency you need to pay to do tricks at certain areas, or alternatively to do certain tricks themselves will require wheels as costs. Once a player defines which area is being done, a trick is being done at, you, from your own hand of cards, will pick a trick that matches the right type. So, for example, I can go ahead and do this front side flip over here, which I'll go ahead, because it's a blue, I can match it to a blue, and I can roll a die, and if I hit one of those, look at that, I matched it over there, I accomplished my 1-point trick. Other players have an opportunity to beat that trick by playing the trick from their hand. We can go ahead and play this one over here. Let's play Mo Flip. We have to do it twice over there. And we accomplished, nope, we already missed over there. We did not get our 3 points. That's a ×2. We would have had to do that twice. That's the basic idea of the game. You go ahead and pick an area. You define what trick is being done. Players play a trick from their hand, trying to roll a die, a single die, trying to spend wheels where necessary to accomplish tricks necessary. When you roll this face over here, you get a wheel back, and that's basically the game. Try to complete your tricks and roll a die, and that's it. I don't like this game at all. It's got a little bit of charm. The graphic design in all these games, by the way, not bad at all. But Skate Park has you choosing an area, rolling a die, pass or fail. That's the game. The game is pick an area, play a card, roll a die. Is there advanced level of strategy in the game I'm missing? Which card to play at what point? How to manage your hand? Maybe. I'm not strongly seeing it. It basically feels like roll a die and see if you got that number. Covered in a bunch of other stuff. I don't enjoy this at all. By the way, this is a good time to talk about the fact that every single one of these rulebooks in all 4 of these games is broken up into a specific single page, double-sided page that you can look at as you unfold it, that all of them felt like they could strongly have benefited from better rules. Every single last one of these was more work than it should have been for what the game is, and that's because they're trying to get it onto that single sheet, and they're all trying to fit into an exact area, and they don't have examples where they should have examples, and they have very unclear pieces of information. None of these have good rule books, and all of these are very light on the gameplay and high on the graphic design. Next up, we have Inkanjini over here. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. This one is arguably the most strategic of them. It is still my second least favorite of them. Inkanjini over here is one that, let's see if we can go ahead and go through this over here. Let's put these tiles out. This is a racing game effectively. And again, all these overviews are overviews. They're not going to cover every single last rule. But we have a game here where you're trying to build out, the players are going to be building out a pathway that you're racing across. Let's go ahead and grab our tile over here. You're going to have your little tokens that define, how many points you have as you go through the process of building out the ocean. Players are going to be assigned tiles. You're going to have a variable number of tiles depending if you're playing 2 or 3 players, and then one at a time you're going to take tiles, placing them face down. I'm playing them face up. Let's go ahead and place them face down. We're going to place them face down. Players are going to be placing into each row. So I may have placed this one, and when it comes to the second row, I'll place that one. Players are going to be building the ocean as they go and trying to race across to the end. You're going to be gathering this beach ball over here, trying to get to the end over there, and scoring points based on how well you do. It's going to be a full, let's just go ahead and do this actually. Let's just show you the whole area. And I'm building this a little out of order, but this should be, it's a 5x3 area. And then you're going to start the process of turning over a tile, going on it, turning over the tile, seeing what effect is on the tile, possibly swapping with your hand. Effects will have you jumping forward, moving backwards, moving to the side. You can discard a tile to go ahead and move diagonally in the game to move to the next one over here. But that's basically it. It's about swapping tiles between your hands and then being the victim of whatever tiles come your way. Arguably, this is the most strategic of the games so far. But the problem with this one is it feels random and punishing and not particularly rewarding. It feels like, hey, lay down a bunch of tiles and then figure out what person put what where just through the sheer guesswork, and has a large degree of follow the leader as well in terms of just following someone else who's already going, depending on how well they did. So if someone's actually doing well, well then you're wasting your time because other players are just following you along that pathway. The whole thing, and occasionally you could discard tiles to discard them to influence on the players. When you could do that, not entirely clear. See my previous comments on the rules. Is it before their turn, at the end of the turn, doing the turn, well, as soon as the turn begins? A little unclear on some of these things. The basic idea is it's a racing game. There are also these goals you can have for additional point opportunities, and that's the game. The tactics of this one, the strategy of this one, arguably the most strategic, but possibly the least fun. In fact, I think Skate Park is only less fun for me because of how removed this is from any real strategy whatsoever. This one over here just feels, it's doesn't feel rewarding. It doesn't feel fun. It's a small box game. Great graphic design. All of these have great graphic design. Not a lot going on there. Then we have next up in terms of least favorite to most favorite, we have chimichangas and tacos. This one over here has you, well, building out your chimichangas and tacos. You're going to have the cards over here, which have your condiment rules, which are the advanced mode. Highly recommend playing with the advanced mode. It's going to be better that way. Then you have your recipe cards, which define the recipes you can make. And then you have a giant stack of tiles over here that represent the various recipe tiles you can go ahead and grab. On your turn, you'll grab 2 tiles, and you'll go ahead and select which one to start off. I have a beaked tortilla over here. I'm going to start my pile off that way. I'll toss this back to the pool. You have the opportunity of holding on to a tile if you want to, so you have that chance, but the next turn you'll only draw 1 tile. Next player goes ahead, grabs 2 tiles, and he's going to start a small tortilla, tossing this one back into the pool. Now, how and where these are mixed up, can you see as you get to the end game, you know what's in there. Again, all of that comes down to the lack of clarity on the rules, or just not great as far as this pile management. We go ahead and pick the next one, and I'm going to go ahead and put the salsa on top of my beaked tortilla, because that's going to be, well, that's none of the recipes over here, so let's not do that. Let's put my El Polo on top of the beaked tortilla. You have to layer your recipes correctly in order to score a variable number of points. At the end of the game, any unfinished recipes are worth negative points, finished recipes are worth the points on them, and then you have the condiments, which have ways of, each condiment has 2 possible uses in terms of how you can use those tiles to either hurt your opponents or help yourself in this game. That's the entire game. Grab 2 tiles, start building out your recipes. First player to get 2 tacos at the end of the game, whoever, has the most points, gets a taco. First player to 2 tacos wins the game. That is the game. It's grab a tile and build a recipe. I don't think it's particularly interesting. I don't think it's particularly fun. I don't think the decision space is particularly rewarding. I think that it is tolerable as a game that teaches you game design mechanics and whatnot, of the sequencing of the game. I don't think the strategy is really strongly there. It's grab 2 tiles, put 1 down until the game is over. And then lastly, we have Slingshot. Slingshot, by the way, is not more strategic than any of them, but arguably, for myself at least, between the graphic design and the gameplay, it is the most fun, I want to say. But it's not that there's any advanced strategy going on. This game, like many others, just comes down to the pure luck of the game. You're going to be laying out tiles, planets specifically. As you're going to be laying these out over here and trying to, let's see, the specific order on the back, but I'm not going to do that for the sake of this right now. You're going to be laying these out, and you're going to have a race across the galaxy as you go from one planet to another, specifically rolling dice in order to get around the board. You're going to have your spaceships over here, which will go on the areas, and then every planet, as you're trying to move from one planet to the next, you're going to have gems, you're going to have cards, you're going to have your pilots over here, all those small things that add to the game over here. So let's say I'm this pilot over here. I'm Nova. Let's put that card there. And then over here we have this little deck of cards, which I do recommend playing with. It's another thing to mix it up. You're going to be flipping these at the beginning of every single turn. Let's just go ahead and grab one of these spaceships here and put it out. And so we have that specific spaceship and this guy. And on your turn, you go ahead and flip one of these over. You check the planet. If you fail this turn, restart your turn. So that gives you an effect that is either positive or negative and happens randomly depending on which planet you're up to. In this case, we don't have blue on this planet, so the effect doesn't happen. So we randomly happen to not have a good effect happen. Then the good part is the cards are both good and bad, and any player can randomly lose their turn, get extra things. The cards are random, and whether they are applied is random, so that's just a nice giant element of randomness to the game. Don't worry, we got more for you. You're going to go ahead and look at the number of dice you have. So we have 4 over there, so we're going to roll, and Yahtzee style, we're going to be able to delegate. Oh, we don't need to. We are able to successfully pass that planet. We'll go ahead and put a gem down there for other players to be able to utilize. Players can use gems for their own personal player abilities, and depending on what you roll over here, you also have the ability to get extra gem for your specific pilot. Will give you different ways to get gems. That's the game. You go to a planet, you roll dice, Yahtzee style, to see if you can go ahead. You have up to 2 rerolls. You can go ahead and try to get past the planet. Some planets have variable numbers of you have to go ahead and get each one of these. So you have to get a red, then a blue, then a green, or actually red, then green, then blue. But you're going to be rolling the dice, always one more than the number you need to achieve, and you have Yahtzee styles in order to be able to try to get that, and that's the game. Roll dice, see who gets to the end first, see who wins. There's a few gems in there, there's a few other random things happening. The entire game is just random progression from one planet to the next with, I want to argue, minimal to no strategy. I guess there's a drop of strategy of when you use your gems. That could be the only thing I would argue strategic. The reason this is my favorite is just from a pure gameplay stance. This is the least painful, I want to say, to actually play. It feels a bit more progression based. It feels a bit more like you're actually getting things done. Although again, decision based on this one is just as minimal as the rest, but just blended a little better. And that is basically Slingshot. And that brings us to these 4 games. All 4 of these games had not the best rules. I'm not going to say the worst rules, but definitely not the best considering how simple they were. And all 4 of them, I feel, were not good. Just not good. It's been a long time since I've been genuinely upset at a game's existence, and in the case of these 4, I am not thrilled that it's a series of 4 games that I didn't think any of these were good, unfortunately. And I'll grant you, that's my own opinion, and maybe I'm not the target audience. Maybe the target audience for this is a whole different genre of gamers that I'm just not there. More often than not, I am frequently find myself saying most games are good. Some games are very good, some games are great, and very, very few games are bad. And even for myself, I find most games that don't resonate with me, I find it's more of a me thing. That this game, I'm not the target audience for it, but I can see how it's well designed and brilliant, and I just don't like the game mechanics at play. These, I feel, the target audience is maybe Target, maybe mass market games in general. Maybe that's where they belong, and that's what they. And that's not necessarily a down thing. It's not necessarily a problem to begin with. There is an audience for games that are low on decision space and high on luck. These, I find, this one has the most decision space and it's just not fun, and the other 3 are just huge amounts of luck wrapped into a game with very little decision space at all. If you don't mind a game that does that, and you're looking for something that will be accessible and have solid graphic design and whimsical themes, maybe pick these up. But if you're in any way looking for meaningful decisions in your game, you should absolutely pass on these 4 games. I feel mean, but I'm not often mean in reviews. I was very let down by the series. In any case, that is Skate Park, Irukandajini, Chimichangas and Tacos, and Slingshot from Monkey Mind Games. I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope this video was helpful, and until next time, I hope you have a good one.